Wonderful. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Regina Cross, and I direct the Spartan Pathways travel program. So you've probably seen emails and letters from me for this trip. I'm pleased to also introduce your MSU faculty professor for this tour, John Fry. John, do you want to say a few words?
Hi, everybody. I'm John. I teach over in the program Art, History, and Design. I'm actually a classical archaeologist by training, so most of my work happens in Greece, but for many years while I was in graduate school, I did archaeological work in Egypt. And so I have about 5 or 6 years worth of field experience digging at a site in Middle Egypt for the UC Berkeley excavations. So I'm really excited to get back to Egypt. It's been a little while since I've been there. And so it'll be fun getting to take this trip with everyone here.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you, John. All right. Just before we get further in with Bob Carpenter from AHI Travel, I just want to remind everyone to mute your microphones. Sometimes little sounds pick up real easy. So if you could do that, I appreciate it. And next we have Bob Carpenter. He's a Vice President of Sales at AHI Travel, and he is going to review the trip and give you some tips and so forth. So take it away, Bob.
All right. Thank you, Regina. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. And thank you for putting your trust in us to provide you this fantastic travel opportunity. I think you're going to have a wonderful time at the end of it. We reflect back on all you've seen, and you've got a great faculty lecturer with John there, who has a world of experience in Egypt as well. And appreciate you all putting your trust in us. Let me tell you a little bit about AHI itself. We are based out of Chicago. We were founded in 1962, and we started off as Alumni Holidays International. That's where we get the AHI. But we've been working in this realm, in the nonprofit realm, since 1962 and have never gone the route of retail sales. So all of the programming that you see, we devise ourselves. We don't buy anything off the rack. And we work with our talented staff in Chicago of almost 120 folks to provide high quality leisure tour operations. We work with about 150 universities in all over the US and Canada. We also work with a number of museums, including Smithsonian. But we really treasure our customer service, value our customer service very highly. And I hope that has come through in your dealings with Anna, your travel coordinator, and leading up to the trip. And if you have any last minute issues or questions, whatever, please be in touch with us in Chicago to make sure that everything is lined up for your departure. All of our trips are what are called fully escorted, meaning once you arrive in Cairo and you depart immigration and customs and grab your luggage and head out into the world, you will be greeted by our staff, and they will be with you the entire time that you're going to be there in Egypt. You are very lucky, I think, because your travel director is going to be Ashraf Massoud. You probably have already seen a little card you got in the final mailing that has his information, but he is a fine professional. He is an outstanding travel director. In fact, he's been rated as one of the best in the world, but he's also just an outstanding human being. And you're going to love being with Ashraf. He is there not only for your comfort and security while you're in Egypt, but he is so proud of his country, and he loves sharing insights in his country and letting people know all about the people and the culture. And by the end of the trip, you're going to feel like you have made a real friend in Egypt. He's just a wonderful guy, and you're very lucky to have him. In addition to our travel director, we always in Egypt will have the services of an Egyptologist. Kamal is going to be your Egyptologist on this particular trip. He has a lengthy educational background. All of the Egyptologists there are required to have years and years of study and he will be providing some wonderful insights into the archaeological sites, but also many insights into the modern day culture of Egypt. We've been operating in Egypt for decades, and we have many contacts there that we've had for decades and decades, including our transfer suppliers there. We have operated, I know some of you were booked on the trip last year when we had to postpone some of these departures because of what's going on in the Middle East. But we operated again back in March of this year, and we've already had a couple of departures so far this fall. People are coming back and saying that there has been really no mention of what's going on in Gaza or in Israel, and they feel very secure. In Egypt, they take the security of travelers very seriously. There's multiple checkpoints. There's enhanced security at all the sites. We'll be having a police escort for many of our bus transfers, and people feel very secure there. And the people of Egypt are dedicated to the safety of the tourism industry, as you might imagine. We have a selection of very nice, very comfortable hotels for your stay. The Four Seasons in Cairo is a lovely enclave away from the rush of central Cairo. But that's in Egypt, and Professor Frey can tell you this too, but in Egypt, outside of the comfort of the hotels, it's going to be a bit of an arduous itinerary in that it's dusty, it's on the edge of the desert, it is cobblestones in many places. You're going to be required to walk a good ways to see the sights. You're going to have to stand quite a bit. So it's very important to make sure that you have some really comfortable shoes for touring, and to dress comfortably but respectfully. This is a Muslim country primarily, and it is a good idea to dress respectfully, meaning particularly in central Cairo and out in the rural areas, you don't need to be walking around flip-flops and with a t-shirt that says "I was stupid." Not that I think that any of you would do that, but just as an example, just to be dressed respectfully. As far as the women's dress in Cairo, it's really only one day when we're going to be visiting the mosques that you need to dress with the shoulders and arms and knees and head covered. So you don't need to overdo the packing in that regard, but you do need to be aware that that is expected and appreciated by the local population. This is all in the material that we've sent you, but I'm just kind of reiterating that. Again, you're on the edge of the desert, which can mean that the evenings and the mornings can be cool, but it's going to be comfortably warm in Cairo. And then when you get to Aswan, it's going to be hot. So it's a good idea to dress in layers to make sure that you're not too cold in the mornings, but it will warm up during the day. But this is a good time of the year to be there. It's not going to be miserably hot in Cairo at all. Money. Dollars are widely accepted. And in fact, it's kind of recommended that you have kind of a mix of credit cards, US dollars, and Egyptian pounds. The exchange rate for the pound right now is about 50 Egyptian pounds for $1 US. You're not necessarily going to need a lot of Egyptian pounds. You might for some small items, if you're going through a bazaar and you want to get a bottle of water, if you need some toiletries, something like that, it's good to have some Egyptian pounds for that. But the US dollars are going to be widely accepted for most of your needs there. And in our materials, we're currently recommending that you take between 400 and 500 US dollars with you. Ashraf is suggesting that maybe you bump that up a bit I might suggest between 500 and 600 US dollars to take with you. You don't have to carry that around with you. You can keep it in the safe in the hotels. But he has been experienced in groups that tend to run out of the money. You can always go to an ATM to get Egyptian pounds, but you're not going to be able to go to the ATM to get more US dollars. So, you know, you get it here in the States. That way you get it from your bank. You don't have to pay an exchange rate or anything like that. So I would encourage you to look at bringing a good supply of US dollars. And then when you get to Egypt, you'll be able to withdraw some Egyptian pounds from an ATM, which would give you the best exchange rate possible. The ATMs are usually in the hotels. They're in other tourist sites as well. Just make sure that your credit card, debit card company understands that you're going to be in Egypt. Give them a call and let them know that. Visa and MasterCard are widely accepted. It's a good idea to go ahead and make sure that those cards know that you're going to be traveling internationally. In most cases, there's nothing, a PIN, personal information number is not required for a credit card purchase, but you might just want to make sure, you know, some people do make some big purchases there with a credit card, and sometimes a PIN might be required for that. So again, just check with your bank on that. And leave your American Express card at home. It's pretty much all across Europe now. They don't want to take that because of the high fees that American Express charges. And no traveler's checks. They're things of our past. The electrical voltage is 220 volts there. We've sent you a little adapter that you need to take with you. Make sure you pack that to insert it into the plugs. You'll be able to charge your devices without having to convert the currency down to 110. So all you need to do is be able to plug it into the outlets and then plug your phone charger into that. Phones, make sure that your carrier is aware that you're going to be going there, or go ahead and sign up for an international calling plan or text plan or whatever it is you got. If you're on T-Mobile, they're pretty much worldwide, great service. AT&T, you're probably going to have to pay a daily fee, but it's usually very reasonable. It used to be anyway. Tips, always a question. As we noted in the materials, the Egyptologist does receive a tip of $100 a day. By the end of the trip, you will think that's exorbitant at first, but at the end of the trip, you'll see he's worth every penny. He's going to do a great job for you. Tips are included for porters and drivers and for any of the wait staff with included meals. If you're out at a restaurant, generally the tipping scale is 10%. Ship staff is $60 per person, and that is split throughout for all the ship's crew. All this is in the material that we sent you in case you need to refresh yourself. The tipping for our travel director, Ashraf, is completely at your discretion. We do not, say that is a mandatory thing, but I think by the end of the trip, again, you'll be wanting to reward him for his great service. And that generally is $10 to $15 a day per person is our recommended, completely at your discretion. Before you leave, make sure that you have our after hours number in your phone, particularly if you're a land-only passenger and making your own arrangements to get to Cairo. When you check in, I assume everybody's got their Egyptian visa. That would have been something you did quite a bit ago. No, Nicholas has not, he says. There is, you can do it when you arrive at the airport, but sometimes there are very long lines to do that. We highly encourage you to do this online in advance. And that was in the materials earlier. No?
No, it wasn't the materials. However, Regina sent a link to do it. However, they're having a lot of problems on that website, and they haven't been able to fix them. So I can't. We're entering a few days earlier, and so we contacted our guide, who said that's not a problem. You can do it at the airport. And we also contacted AHI, and the person that I spoke with there has experience with Egypt and said, don't worry at all about the visa. Just pay the $25 US at the airport. And, I mean, I spent 3 hours trying to get everything taken care of. So I finally gave up, and we're paying the $25 per person at the airport. It's not supposed to be a problem.
Well, we'll find out.
That's what I was told as well by Anna, I believe it was.
Okay, well, good. I know in the past there have been issues with the lines there that disrupts the transfers. So, our operations people, they like it to be all nailed down in advance. But if it's you've been told it's not a problem, good. When you get to the airport, of course, you'll check your bags all the way through to Cairo. You'll be offered a printed boarding pass. I know you probably have apps on your phones for your air carriers, and that's a good thing to have. But I always encourage people to go ahead and get that printed boarding pass as well, just for the security of that. Now I'm going to also go to a email that Ashraf sent that has a few other little tips. Sorry, I'm having to search for it here. I don't know if any of you had planned to pack binoculars, but he says, don't pack binoculars. Seems rather cryptic to me. I'm not really sure why he would say that, but he does say that. Do pack air tags. I just had an experience coming back from the Caribbean where my luggage got lost, and I have never thought that I needed the air tags because I haven't had lost luggage, even though I travel all the time. But it is something you might want to look into. I know a lot of people that travel internationally now are buying those. You put them on your luggage and you can trace it on your phone exactly where it is. He says they need at guest find they need more cash than we suggest in the pre-trip materials, particularly if shopping in bazaars or from street vendors. Keep receipts for souvenirs and don't buy anything that potentially could be confused for an ancient artifact. Best to keep any made in or point of origin stickers on souvenirs until you get home. Remind them this is an active tour. There's a lot to see, which unfortunately means some long days and early flights. We do have some pretty early flights here. And I can't stress enough that once you get there, Ashraf will be able to guide you beautifully through all the customs there and what the expectations are of travelers in his beautiful country. And that's all I got. Regina, what did I miss? You're muted.
Sorry, I muted myself instead of unmuted. Okay, all right. So once they arrive in Cairo and they go through customs, do they look for an AHI sign or for the transfers?
Yes, we will have staff there at the airport. Once you reclaim your luggage or claim your luggage and exit, there will be someone there with an AHI travel sign waiting for you to guide you to the transfer bus.
Okay, and how long is the transfer? Do you know?
Approximately 45 minutes with traffic.
Okay. All right, we do have some other questions here. There is one comment that says, thanks, your team is terrific. So.
Thank you.
Okay. The last evening at the hotel, is it a day room or fully overnight?
It's fully overnight, but you don't get to stay overnight. You do check in that afternoon. You'll have that afternoon. There's a big mall right next to the City Stars hotel. People love that hotel. It's a good gateway out. But the departure is very early the next morning because the Lufthansa a lot of the flights are around 3 a.m. in the morning. So it's going to be a quick night, but it is not just a day room.
Okay. Are shorts okay for both women and men?
In the tourist areas like Giza, the pyramids, and some of the other sites in Abu Simbel and Aswan, yes. In central Cairo, no, I would say no.
Okay. All right. And then Jack asked about credit cards. Jack, did you get your question answered? Okay, good. All right. What are the estimated temperatures?
I looked on my weather site earlier, and it was Cairo for next week was mid to high 80s, low 60s in the evening, and Aswan was 90s in the day.
And mostly sunny?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, plenty of sun.
Okay. Is
Land of the sun god, of course.
yeah. Is it $500 to $600 per person that you recommend?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I believe you answered the question about American Express. Let's see here. For cash, what denominations for the bazaar for shopping?
Smaller ones. Yeah, 20s, 50s, maybe. I mean, it depends on what you buy too. But and like in a lot of other countries, particularly if you're going to be buying things in a bazaar, have nice new notes, not crinkled up ones, nothing torn, anything like that. Don't bring any coins. They don't take any coins. But yeah, smaller denominations.
Okay. Do you know how many people are on the Jordan pre-tour?
I believe it's 10.
10. Okay, good. All right. Is there a chance for swimming at the hotel or otherwise?
They do have a pool. And I believe on the ship there is a pool as well. So yeah.
Okay, so all right, Warren and Mary, you asked the question, we depart at 9:30. Where do we stay? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Is there, do you want to unmute and what day are you referring to?
Second, I mean,
November 2nd, we leave at 9:30 a.m. because we
so
arranged
we
it.
need a whole night room. We don't need just the afternoon.
Okay, well, that's fine. I know that the majority of the flights are
Okay.
going to be leaving really early. No, we're not going to kick you out at
Okay.
1:30.
I didn't really want to sleep in the mall, so.
No.
Okay, what plans does AHI have for a quick escape if there's military troubles?
Military troubles in
You
Egypt.
mean like unrest of any kind? I would assume that's what.
Well, we do work out emergency conditions with our ground suppliers there in Egypt. We have had those in place pretty much from the beginning when we were working in Egypt due to the nature of the Middle East. I can't tell you any specific plans about evacuations or anything like that. That would have to be handled as a on-case basis. But rest assured that the Egyptian authorities are very concerned about the security of the travel industry and the tourists there. So, and currently, the Arab Spring, the unrest there of John, tell me 8 years ago, whatever, that seems like ancient history. It's reverted back to a dictatorship there, military dictatorship, and they keep unrest very much under control. So I'm sorry, I don't have more of an answer for that, but let's just hope that we don't have to deal with that. But we do have plans in place.
Okay. Another question, any additional must-knows for Jordan?
None other than, the information that was sent out to you in advance about that trip. There is a visa requirement there, but that's a real simple one. That's not an issue to get that one on arrival. Again, dollars are going to be available. It's in a very nice hotel in Amman with, all kinds of amenities, ATMs there as well. But dollars are widely accepted. I just saw that they just had some remarkable new find in Petra in front of the, yeah, John, maybe you saw it. I did. They were excavating in front of the grand, those grand buildings. But it's, so there'll be some excitement around being in Petra. Petra is a remarkable visit. Those of you who chose to do that are really going to enjoy it.
All right, is it going to be the same travel director for Jordan?
No, we'll have
Okay.
a different travel director there.
Okay. All right. All right, another question, on the question of shorts for women. So except for one and the first and second days in Cairo and the mosque, shorts are acceptable?
John, you might address this better than I. I mean, you've spent more time there day to day. I probably, in the most tourist destinations, yes, I would say they are acceptable. Most other places, especially out in the rural areas, shorts or low cut tops and stuff like that, they're going to look askance at that.
Bob, that's been my experience that generally once you get outside of Cairo or the more sort of well-traveled touristy areas, the country tends to be far more conservative, and it's best just to err on the side of caution, which means typically for guys and for girls, it's button-down shirts with sleeves that go to the wrist and pants. And actually it's counterintuitive, but my experience has also been that actually dressing where you're almost completely covered is in the hot sun cooler than wearing shorts. It sounds silly, but just keeping the sun off really makes a difference.
Yeah, that's why they wear the long dresses.
Yeah, maybe linen shorts would be the most comfortable, or pants, I should say. Linen pants might be the
Yeah.
most comfortable. So, all right. And then you mentioned about wearing something, women wearing something on their head. Will a scarf suffice for that?
Yeah, as long as it covers your shoulders and your arms. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions at all?
Wear a hat. Men should wear a hat to keep the sun off. Yeah.
Okay. Another question. Are white shirts in this particular Muslim country acceptable?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And it looks like Jack had a
Jack's,
question.
You're
You'll have to unmute. Let's see here. You see a little,
Okay,
there
now,
you go.
there we go.
send me something to mute. I have a question, and I couldn't begin to type all of this stuff. My understanding is, we all leave on the 22nd. The 23rd is a big open day, and we don't do anything until the 24th, correct?
Day of arrival is, yes, pretty open. Yeah.
Okay, we get in very early on the 23rd. There's nothing booked. I'm wondering if they can make any recommendations about something to do that is not going to be covered on the tour in subsequent days.
Yeah, two things. You can ask our travel staff there for guidance on that. And you can also go to the concierge at the Four Seasons. They're
Is
very
there
good.
anything we can do ahead of time to plan? I don't, getting in at the last minute and planning those things. I always say, oh, if we knew you were coming, you could have done this or that or the other thing.
The most famous line in the tourism business, you should have been here last week.
Yeah.
It's,
Can Ashraf communicate with us and maybe make some recommendations? Our plane gets in at 5:30 in the morning.
yeah.
And, you know, we could do things, but I don't want to do something and then find out, well, 2 days later,
Okay.
we're going to do that as the group.
You know what? I'll write him a quick email after this is over and ask him for that. Now, give me like, what kind of things are you interested in doing?
Things that would be of interest that aren't on the tour. But one thing I've looked at it, I don't know if I can figure it logistically, is maybe a day trip to Alexandria.
No.
Go. Because
We've tried to set that up in the past for people. It's an 18-hour trip there and back to have any time to spend in Alexandria. I think the transfer is around 6 hours. It's a long day.
I've looked on, again, I'm not arguing with you because you're the expert, that's why I'm asking the question. I looked at a thing like Viator. Viator says 12 hours from Cairo,
Yeah.
going back and stop at 5 places. No?
You have at it, you know. I know we did set it up for a group, and the traffic, you never know in Egypt what the traffic's going to be like, and it ended up being close to an 18-hour tour, which was, you know, we charged them for it, and they weren't all that happy with it. So that's just my experience, but you know, it's a long day.
You'll ask the question of Ashraf and see what he suggests.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll send it to Regina and she can share it with the group.
Happy to do that. Any other questions at all?
No, but I wanted to let Jack know that if you're going to do that, be prepared to spend about $600 for that day.
Yeah, it looks like it's not that big of a transfer to get over there, but it takes a long time.
Okay.
I have a question, Regina. Have
Okay.
we been given our flight information from Amman to Cairo? I don't know if I saw that.
You should have gotten that with your final documents, correct, Bob?
Yeah, if you booked it through us if you booked it through HI, yes, you should have all your flight information already.
Okay. I'll go back and look through that.
Now, sometimes they will, it depends on the airport, but sometimes they'll wait until just 2-3 days prior to tell you exactly where the meeting point is
Right.
in an airport. But I'm not sure about that in Cairo. But if there is,
yeah, we do. Yeah.
So you don't have any flight information?
We do have our flight information out of Cairo because we go back to Jordan and then from Jordan back to Chicago. So, but I don't remember seeing that little flight between Amman. Does everybody out? Does anyone else out
the
there
internal,
know that
no, the internal
they
flight.
saw that?
Is that what you're talking about? The internal flight? That's all handled by us and by our ground operator.
The
You don't have to
internal
worry about
flight
that.
from Jordan, from Amman to Cairo. Yes. Well, that's just okay, so once I get to Amman, they'll have our information from Amman to Cairo. Just that
Yes.
one day on the 23rd, we go and we enter into Cairo. So I
Yes.
didn't see that flight, but that's considered internal?
Yes.
Yes, okay, because we do have our information when we leave Cairo, our way home is done. Okay, I'll
Okay.
just find it when I get to Jordan. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't have it either, Ann. So it just the description of it that we check out of the hotel in the morning after breakfast and depart for Amman Airport. But I don't have anything either in terms of the specifics. And I think I questioned it too when the gentleman was asking about what time we got into
Right.
Cairo as to how much time we have. I started looking for that too, and I couldn't find
Yeah,
it.
okay.
That'll be handled by the ground staff there, and it's the same from the flights up to Aswan in Abu Simbel. That's all handled. That's included in the price, and you don't have to worry about getting to the airport. We'll take care of that for you. Checking you in and everything.
Okay, so Cindy, you had a question regarding the black umbrella. Is that the umbrella that MSU sent you? Might be the gift that you selected?
Yeah.
Probably so.
Which
So
is at my house,
okay, all right.
right?
So, would that be something that'd be useful in the desert, Bob or John? To protect you from the sun, I assume?
You know, millions of Asian tourists can't be wrong. You know, they always have their umbrella handy. So yeah, it can certainly help, I think, keep you cool. You're muted, Cindy.
It's just that it's black, and that's what threw me off.
Okay. Well, that's one of the gifts that we, you know, if you want to select a gift, so you might, I'm assuming you selected the umbrella, so.
I don't think there's any prescription against black umbrellas in Egypt, is there, John?
No, honestly, it's just anything to keep the sun off. The sun is just punishing. It just takes it out of you, and people burn real easy. You can say, "Oh, I've been in the sun in Michigan," but there is something about being in the sun in Egypt and Mediterranean that is just different. It's a lot more sun.
Yeah.
Yes. So I do recommend sunscreen. Make sure you pack your sunscreen. So, yes. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and then I'll make sure that we get get them answered for you before your departure next week. And so thank you, Bob, very much for reviewing these tips. Oh, one more question, Jack.
One quick question. About how much time should we plan to take from leaving the airplane, getting through customs, security, whatever it is in Cairo?
Depends on how many international flights are arriving at the same time, but I would always plan on at least 2 hours.
Yeah, and another thing I suggest that once you get through security at the airport, to get a bottle of water and keep it with you. Because once you arrive, if there's lines are long, I've been in some brutal situations where customs lines are just ridiculously long, and it was so helpful to have water because sometimes those airports are really warm. So I really, really recommend that you just once you get through security at your starting airport, purchase a bottle of water, keep it with you on the plane. And then once, have it when you arrive, because it can be a lifesaver. And also too, I recommend maybe one of those, handheld fans, have that available too. Okay.
A question about bottled water. Yes, you drink bottled water. We'll have bottled water on the motor coaches and most excursions, but it's a good idea to carry your own bottle with you as well, and we'll provide you with purified water spigots in different places too. So it's good to hydrate, keep hydrated.
Yeah. So, okay, how
In the
about
hotels, I see there's a question about the hotels. Yes, the water is safe in the hotels. Just out and about. No.
any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, again, if you do think of anything, let me know, and I'll make sure that we get those answered for you. And thank you Bob, very much for giving us all this information. I hope it was helpful for everyone. Before we depart, I think what it would be good to do is have everyone kind of say a few words about, who they are and your connection to Michigan State and what you're looking forward to on this trip. So I'm going to start with Warren and Mary.
I went to medical school at Michigan State, not undergrad, but I'm an avid Spartan fan. We live in Grand Rapids. I'm a retired ER doc, and I'll let Mary describe me. We have 5 kids, all adults. I think we have 6 grandchildren. And I think that's all that's important. But Mary, speak for herself.
Yeah, I'm just raised kids and I was an operating room nurse for about 25 years. So that's not at Michigan State.
Want to say anything?
All right, thank you. Nick, do you want to go next?
I always make sure I do that.
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to meet you and be on this excursion with another group of Spartans. John, you, I know you are from Ohio State, but no one is perfect. So anyway, I'm a law professor at Michigan State. And Cindy and I have lived in the Middle East, and I've also taught in the Middle East.
Oh, wonderful. Great. Okay, Jack.
I graduated from Michigan State in 1969, a degree in political science. Did some time with Uncle Sam in the Army, did graduate school down in Ann Arbor, came to Washington in 1980 and have been here ever since. Looking forward to Egypt. The closest I've been to the Middle East is Greece and Turkey. So I've never been to any of these places, so I'm looking forward to it.
Wonderful. Great. Nancy.
Nancy Eardley. My connection to Michigan State is Arnett Krause, my traveling partner, but that's it. So I'm looking forward to the trip, though. I've been to Israel twice, but not to Jordan or to Egypt.
Okay, Anne.
I am a 1976 graduate in speech and language pathology from Michigan State, and I'm also an avid fan. And I am a traveler. I love to travel, and I love to travel with travelers, not necessarily tourists. And I am really looking forward to this.
Wonderful. Okay, Cindy. Oh, you're muted. Yes.
I graduated from from the College of Business, went on to work in the autos for a while. After a time, my husband and I ended up moving to Orange County, California. So there's a lot of back and forth between Orange County and East Lansing. And I really enjoy being in really other cultures. When we first started international travel, we went to Europe, we went to South Central America, which isn't all like the United States, but close enough. So I like getting further abroad, and it'll be great. I like the fan idea, though. Bringing a fan and some bandanas that I can get wet.
Who's your first husband? I should have
You're my first
introduced.
and final husband.
That's me.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you so much. Just a reminder that we do have our online directory available. So if you want to learn a little bit more about all our travels, we don't have everyone here today, but there are some that are out on our online directory, and you can take a look at that and learn a little bit more about your fellow travelers. If you haven't joined that and would like to, just send me an email, let me know, and I can send you an email to sign you up. So anyway.
We are the predominant group on this tour.
Yes, there are 2 from Cornell, and I believe there's 9 from Missouri State University, but we have the majority of the people. So good.
Another MSU?
Pardon?
That's right.
Another MSU?
Yeah, another MSU. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I don't believe they're green. So anyway. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And thank you, Bob, very much. And John, do you have any parting words at all that you'd like to say?
I'm just really
Yes.
looking forward to this trip. It'd be great to meet all of you and hang out, and let's go explore Egypt together.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thanks so much for attending. And what I'll do is also once I edit the recording for this, I will send that out. So if there's anything you didn't quite remember, you'll have an opportunity to go back and listen to the recording. So thanks again and have a fantastic time, and go green.
Go
Thank
away.
you. Have a great trip.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.